Hi, I'm Em, and today we're recording Emily on the Arturia AudioFuse Studio. We're going to record this in 3 parts. Emily would like to record acoustic guitar first, then vocals, and then piano. The AudioFuse Studio has 4 mic pre's, so that you can do pretty much anything you need, from basic drum kit recording to piano, guitars, multiple singers, all kinds of things. If you wanted to add more inputs to this device, it's very easy. It's got ADAT on the back, so you can get any 8-channel ADAT compatible interface and plug that straight in, and they'll come up on the AudioFuse Control Center. I'm using Austrian Audio OC818 today, and possibly later on we'll be using the OC18 as well. I've chosen these as they're very sensitive, balanced and full sounding condenser mics, which I really like on acoustic guitar, and actually on a lot of sources today. I think we're going to use them on vocal, piano and the guitar. Because Emily's playing very quietly, I'm going to be quite close, probably a little closer than I'd normally be, and pointing roughly at the 12th fret to kind of pick up a good spread of the sound, and be a little bit careful of booming because of the being very quiet. Any kind of extra movement will be very exaggerated, so you often get big booms. So I might even be angling it slightly away, just to dial in a bit of the null, depending what pattern I use on the microphone. I might be switching to figure 8 possibly, or maybe even omni, depending on how much proximity effect I get. And we'll take it from there. A nice thing, even on the headphones, is you've got mono for the headphone sense, which is very handy. And on each instrument channel, you've got a phase invert, a pad, and phantom power right at hand without going into menus, which makes things really quick and easy. So it's a very hands-on unit. Emily, can you play a little bit? And let's have a listen. I'm just going to ask my assistant, Brian, to change this to figure of 8 polar pattern so I can have a listen and see how that works. Brian? Hello. Would you turn it to figure of 8 1 second? There's a couple of interesting things with the talkback, which is a latching or momentary latch design according to how you push it. So if you push and hold, it'll release when you let go, and if you click it, just stay on. That's nice functionality for the studio. It seems boring, but actually practically it's really helpful.
Okay, all done.
Okay, should we go for a take?
Yeah, let's do it.
This is really good, the unit's really hands-on. These knobs are really good quality for a start. I'm really impressed with those. It's quite a featured volume control here as well, with a mono, mute and dim functionality. And dim just lowers the level of the speakers considerably, so you often use it when you're talking to people in the studio or someone wants to talk to someone else. Okay, we've got a guitar now, so we're going to go and do vocals. It's an Austrian Audio OC818 again. It's a very simple setup. Just put it up in cardioid. I've got a reflection filter up to stop reflections from the room coming in the rear of the mic. I've got a pop shield up to minimise plosives, and that's pretty much it, and we're ready to go. Very handy feature is 2 independent headphone mixes with outputs, either on 1/4 inch or 3.5 inch. So either one can either have its own mix from QMix 1, QMix 2, or the main mix bus, which is really handy because within the app you can very quickly set different mixes on QMix 1 and 2 on these layers, which I really like. This is very clear. There's no real particular menu diving. It's very straightforward. You could have one set of cans for you in the studio, listening to the mix, and one set for a singer listening to Q1. Or you could have you listening to headphones, say a bass player with Q1 and drummer with Q2, and they'd have completely different mixes. So that's really good functionality in such a small unit. Okay. We're going to record vocals into the same channel we just did on the AudioFuse Studio, and we're pretty much ready to go. I'm just putting it in record. Great, let's just do a take and I'll get a level and see how we're doing.
You say that's where you wanna be. Horizon lines are thin, you see. You're waiting for the wave that will ride the way to change. Well, you can dance on the beach to the rhythm of the sea, that a rhythm you've been feeling your whole life. I'll be your lifeguard.
Great, thanks. Perfect. Yeah, sounds good. It's a totally solid vocal sound. It sounded good and the performance was great. I think we're good to go on to record the piano. Just to talk a bit more about the mic pre's, it seems to be sort of fairly clean in design, which is, I think, suitable if you're going to heavily process afterwards. And certainly you can use the included mic pre's to shape the sound immediately after recording, which I am actually doing here with the Neve pre on the guitar and the V76 pre on the vocal. So that's quite a nice feature, which lets you choose afterwards a bit more about the character. This room isn't particularly flattering, so I'm minimising how much of it we have in the sound. We could do all kinds of ways with all kinds of different mics. There's all kinds of coincident mic patterns which people can look up online. You just search coincident mic arrays and you'll find lots of information about that. We could do MS recordings, we could do recordings with a stereo mic. Sometimes you can even put the mics close to the footboard underneath. It depends on the way the piano's built, and this one is just, I'm trying to get a kind of focused, fairly neutral sound from it. So that's how, at the moment, it seems like it's going to work. Just a bit of audio flummery and move them a bit closer, try and get a more focused sound. And I'm doing just kind of a fairly loose spaced pair just to get a bit of stereo on this and see how that sounds. And I've actually got one mic down the back as well, which can sometimes add a bit of depth to the sound if I invert the polarity a bit and mix it in a little bit. Sometimes works, sometimes doesn't, and we'll see how it sounds in the control room. Do you want more guitar?
Yeah, more guitar would be good.
There you go. No worries.
Yeah, that's better.
You could listen to the Q mix, either Q mix from the main mix, which is very useful when you're setting up people's headphones just to check they're getting what you're hearing or what you want them to hear. So that's a really good professional functionality there. Let's do one. Do you come in with the guitar?
Yeah.
Great, let's give you a counting beforehand. Here we go.
And when times get hard, pick another card. I'll be there standing on the island shore. I'll be your lifeguard. I'll be your lifeguard.
Great.
Yeah.
All good?
Cool.
I'll be your lifeguard.
The AudioFuse Studio has a Bluetooth input, which means you can play anything from any Bluetooth-enabled device directly into your DAW and directly into the AudioFuse. So you see it's actually coming straight in, so I can even punch it in the end of the track if I wanted to just do. So I've actually just recorded that as a track here. I think maybe it was all right about there. Recorded the synth from my phone. Okay, so one really useful function as well is inserts on each channel, which means you can put your own compressors, EQs, or any processors in line with the recording. So again, no latency, and you can integrate all your existing gear with the AudioFuse Studio. That's a really big bonus, I think. It also ships with a bunch of the Arturia effects, and these are a really good starting point. The pre's, some compressors, and delays, and filters, and I use all of them regularly on lots of stuff I do. They're really good. Reamping is taking my line level signal and changing the impedance so it is at instrument level, which is a very large and wide topic to talk about, which I won't go into here. But it basically effectively will make your output of your DAW compatible with guitar pedals and guitar amps. So I am now sending a signal out from the vocal channel, out of the reamp output, the auxiliaries, with the reamp option selected down here, and putting it into a really nice room guitar effects pedal, which is quite lo-fi and controlled, and I think sounds really good on vocals. So I'm going to record that in from the main vocal, out of the guitar pedal, back into input 4, into the DAW. And I've got it at a high level so you can hear it. This is the guitar pedal here. I've got different effects here I could use if I wanted. I think the rooms are on for this. When it's sat in there, it sounds pretty good. Now, this functionality is really useful. So that means I can put any guitar pedal on or any amplifier or anything straight from the DAW into the mix without any extra gear, and that's really valuable because reamps can be quite expensive sometimes just by themselves. This also means you can just record DI bass or DI guitar and then choose an amp afterwards if you want, or if a mix comes with an amp, you're already set up to go and re-record it through your own gear. Just while we're tracking, I've been using on the guitar, I've used the Neve pre with a little bit of top end and some low end shaping, and then into the 1176, and then a little bit of sort of rapid delay on that, just to make it bounce along a little bit more, and that's using the tape echo. On the vocal, I've used the V76 pre for a bit of tone shaping, no EQ or anything on that. I like the colour of it, and then a bit of the Neve top end, and a little bit of low. It's quite powerful EQ, so I rarely need to use too much of it. And then into the stay level, which is doing,
You say that's where
something.
you wanna be.
Not a huge amount, but some nice hold. And that's our reamped reverb from the guitar pedal. Then I've got a parallel on the vocal of the 1176 on a very fast setting, hitting it quite hard. Really slamming that, and there's a tiny bit of that, and that just helps poke the vocal out above everything else. I've used a bit of the Memory Man on the vocal, but very, very quiet, just to add a bit of sense of depth. And then both that, the guitar and the plate and the piano are all hitting the plate. With I think just on the default setting pretty much is great. I've rolled a little bit of bottom off and added a bit of pre-delay. The piano has all gone to the V76 for some tone shaping, and then back to the plate, but very little on that. And then I think I put the little iPhone app through quite a lot of plate to give it a bit more space, blend it in with the vocal at the end. It's great that the Creative Suite has the plate reverb. I think that's really helps round off the effects bundle.
I'll be your lifeguard.
It's very easy to use. Everything's right in front of you. There's no searching around for stuff. After initially configuring it, it's very, very, very quick to use. It feels solid, and everything pretty much is there, I think, for you to do, full productions on, I'd say.